Welcome to another video, and what are we doing today? Pretty simple. We're looking at the PAC-S1, which is from the Pioneer LaserActive, and we're going to replace the capacitors. Now on this board alone I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. There's about, a lot of capacitors, and once this board is done, I then have to move on to this board, which is pretty much a capacitor frenzy. So I'm going to do it in high speed so you don't have to endure it, but we'll be using, I'll be testing these just to try cutting into the capacitor instead of my usual needle nose pliers and wiggling. We'll just see if that makes a difference. If it makes it a bit easier, I'll keep using them. If not, you'll see me switch pretty quickly back to the other ones. So without any more waiting, let's get into this. Also, it's probably good to note at this point that by this stage, these capacitors should have leaked. These SMD capacitors, they're awful. They're from the 90s at least. They're pretty bad. They're usually the cause of failures such as sound loss. You see that a lot in TurboGrafx, PC Engine sort of things, because they use these quite extensively. Thankfully the Sega side of things steered pretty clear of them, except in well, this obviously, and what was the other thing? I can't remember. Damn it. Well, it'll be really cool when I remember. Anyway, let's get back to it. Or rather, let's begin. So far, so good. As you can see there, what's actually happening with the smaller ones is the legs are staying where they're meant to be, and the capacitor can is just lifting up off the legs. If you sort of, the best idea is to use the cutty things by the looks. Don't cut through them though, just wiggle them like you would with pliers. Give them a few wiggles to get them loose, and then just do the rest by hand, and then eventually your fingers will start to really hurt. But it's a good sort of hurt. As you can see, it's quite crusty around a lot of them. C337 wasn't populated. So what's actually happening is when they're snapping off, they're leaving little parts of the leg in the solder on the pad. These black plastic bits seem to act as a sort of buffer, holding the legs on the board but letting them detach from the capacitor, which is very handy. So we've got quite a few down. How many have we got there? Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. There's about 19. I should have taken off a few more. So I'm going to continue at this. So let's speed it up again. Some of these capacitors are wedged in quite well, especially up here. Look at that, there's 4 in a row and then a 5th one. And they all block each other, and then you got things like SRAM getting in the way. It's fun. So mostly I believe they were all 10 UF capacitors. These ones that we've got now, the big ones, are either 47 or 100. So we'll get them off, and then we'll have to get out the desolder gun to remove the battery and the only radial capacitor in here, which is quite interesting. So let's keep going. You're next. Let's get a closer look at that one. So that's the 100 microfarad, and underneath, look at that. It's leaked. You can see it on the board as well. So it looks like I'm well, it probably didn't help that I had to squeeze the capacitor to... it doesn't look like it's leaked out recently. Wonder how long it's been like that for. Nasty. Let's see what the other ones have. And just like that, as you can see, we are cleared of all surface mounted capacitors. Now give them the pads a bit of a cleanup, using a bit of isopropyl. And then I'll move on to soldering iron and trying to get all the little legs out of those solder pads. That is going to take a while. And then I've got to add the capacitors, so it's pretty exciting. But since that board is done, it is now out of any threat. Future leakage. We've got this one, which has just as many. And it also has a few of the 100s, which, if they're from the same batch, probably just as leak. Much leak, many wow. And actually, we'll leave this one for a separate video. For our next trick, we will be removing the battery and radial capacitor using a Hakko 808 desoldering tool. These things are fantastic. Such a happy noise. So simply work out where your points are. So on this capacitor, there are these two giant things. Hopefully it's heated up enough. Get a better look at that. There we go. Clean as a whistle. That's been desanitized. Now if we flip this over, That's the power of the Hacko 808. Is it glue or electrolyte? I hope it's glue. And now the same is done with the battery. And I hope I noted down somewhere what the polarity was, and I would have because I had photos. That's fine. That's all good. It's a very important thing to make sure you have these. I mean, the SM surface mount capacitors are fine because they've got the markings. Where does this one have it? Is it? Must be the other side. It's got a tab coming out of it. Maybe that means something. Cool. So the battery is here. Don't know if you can see that. These fun little points. Now you don't want to heat the battery up too much because they really don't like that. Damn. With the power to explode and whatnot. That one was better. That one might be a bit of an issue though. Might need to add some solder and give that one another go. Let's see if it lifts at all. It only cleared one of the three by the looks. Oh no, that one should be okay. That one's definitely loose. Definitely needs a bit of heat, so if you do get stuck you can just, you probably can't see it because it's out of frame, but just apply a little heat, or usually heat through, and then you can just lift just in case it's stuck. Whoops. That's one leg out. Not necessarily a good thing though. So now it's all uneven. I need a nylon probe tool, that's what I need. I might go get one of those. I just had a great idea. Snip the legs! These are meant to be wire cutters. Ah! So why didn't they cut? Ha 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 ha! Cut that one okay. Ooh, that's leaked. It's got dry. Beautiful, look at that. Never good. Now I've got stuff blocking the hole. So I can fix that with a soldering iron, that's easy enough. Where is it? There it is. So we're going to need to get a regular soldering iron out now. Let's find one of those. Can you see them? They're beautiful, aren't they? These two capacitors rolling together. They are very similar, yet quite different. So I found that the negative side is where there's sort of a tab coming out of the silk screen on the PCB. We've got a 10 volt, which is what we're replacing, with a 16 volt. Now they're the same microfaradness. In this case they're 470s. With all the surface mount capacitors as well. Where possible, maintaining the same case size, I've gone for higher rated ones. Like these are the 47s, 35 volt. Previously the 47s were 16. So by increasing the voltage they hopefully become a little more reliable and last a bit longer. It's yet to be seen, of course. What else have we got here? We've got the 100s I've moved up to 16 and they were 6 volt. So that's quite a big jump. They'll hopefully be quite good. What else have we got here? 10. What's 10? 10 UF, 35 volt. Now I think all the 10s were 16. And there were a lot of them. Yeah, they were 16, so they'll be bumped up as well. So everything gets bumped up where possible, because technology has come so far that the 16 is now takes up the same physical space as a 10, which is good. And we're going with for all the SM surface mount caps, we're going with what are they? Panasonics, Pannies. And we're going with Rubicon for the one electrolytic, which I guess I could call a Ruby. That's a bit weird, so I need to clean that pad before I put that on. But right now, what are we doing? What were we doing? Battery. We were fixing the battery. So I managed to track down a pin, which is off camera now. That's not much use to you. I found my soldering iron and my soldering station using a good old 40 watt Hacko, because I don't care what anyone says. This 40 watt iron can melt through anything, including PCB. So I'm going to try and clear this blockage. Actually, that would be even better. Just a pair of pliers. No? You don't want to heat up? Well, that's just mean. Cut away too much from the other side. There's nothing to pull through. That sucks. That's hindsight for you though. Huh. Now I need some desolder braid. Nice and clear. It just seems to be melting the board. Well, that's close enough for now, apparently. Where is the battery? Probably should just make sure that this battery is a physical fit before I go any further. Oh, it is perfect. Oh, fantastic. Perfect physical fit. Electrically, probably similar. Worst that'll happen is it'll catch on fire, which is alright with me. I think. And that's it for this board for the moment, I guess. Next step is to clean off all the pads as best I can, just to get rid of all the cruft. And then we'll get that radial capacitor in and work on all the little ones. All the surface mount ones. Okay, so here we are. Got a jumbo pack of cotton tips. Pure softness, so soft. And we've got some isopropyl methylated spirits for me here, which is not to be used if you're in the States. Your methylated spirits is different to the stuff we use down here down under. As you'll see, it is clear. No methanol, I think it is, that's added. There is something in this. Doesn't smell very nice, and again neither does alcohol. So with the pads, oh gosh. Now one thing I noticed is that I pulled out a an ML2016 coin cell battery, rechargeable. That's what the ML means anyway. Now this is 3 volts. I had a look on the web and it seems to me that it's supposed to have an LIR2016. Now I don't know if that's just a different type of battery, but the LIR ones are 3.6 volt instead of 3. So either the battery's been replaced before, which it didn't look like, or something weird's going on. Maybe there's just some differences between the S1 and the S10. The S10 being the US version of the LaserActive. Sadly, it never saw a PAL release. Isn't that unfortunate for us who live in PAL land? Ah, look at that. So now you're just going to want to go over all the pads, clean them off as best you can. And that will take time, so let's speed it up. And we're done. Now we've got to pull out the soldering iron. Give these pads a bit of a clean up and go from there. It worked! They're both programmed, so that is some good news. This means I need to feed in an external voltage, which means I should now be able to program the lunch beat successfully. I'm guessing when we erased it previously, we needed a partial erase, so we would have ended up with some code still left there that it couldn't sort of scrub off because there wasn't enough voltage going through. So let's see if we can get that hooked up, and we'll go from there. Very exciting.